They say dogs can sense danger long before humans do, but Buddy just wagged his tail. That was his reaction to the woman in oversized sunglasses and yoga pants standing on our front lawn, jabbing an accusing finger and ranting about noise violations before I'd even finished my morning coffee. I'd only been in this neighborhood for 2 weeks, a charming, peaceful pocket of suburbia with neatly trimmed hedges, pastel mailboxes, and enough porch flags to make you think you'd stepped into a postcard. It was supposed to be a quiet, safe fresh start for me and Buddy, my golden retriever rescue. Despite his size, he was more of a cuddly teddy bear than a watchdog, loved belly rubs, despised squirrels, and only barked at the mailman or a particularly shady lawn ornament. So when Lisa, not her real name, but it suits her, stormed up claiming Buddy had been barking nonstop for hours, I was blindsided. For one, Buddy had been napping on the couch all morning. For another, it was 9 a.m. on a Saturday. I tried to explain, keeping it polite at first, that Buddy wasn't a barker and maybe she'd mixed up the houses. But she wasn't Hawaiiing it. I know what I heard, she snapped, tapping a manila folder against her leg like she was ready to file a lawsuit. I've documented item stamps and everything. I stared, baffled. Timestamps? Was she recording my dog? Was this normal here? Before I could ask, she spun around and marched off, tossing a warning over her shoulder about knowing people on the HOA board and taking it up with them. Thing is, I didn't even belong to an HOA, that's why I picked this place. No fees, no petty rules, no beige siding mandate. I stood there in the doorway, wondering if I'd hallucinated the whole thing, then glanced at Buddy. He gave a soft woof and flopped over for a belly rub, unfazed, as if the world hadn't just tilted. I should have known then that this was only the start, that Lisa wasn't just some nosy neighbor or rule-obsessed busybody. No, this was someone who thrived on control in a world where she had none, who saw a leash as a symbol of power in Buddy, and I were her new fixation. The next few days were quiet, almost too quiet, but it wasn't calm, it was a build-up. I started noticing things. The same SUV parked across from my house every evening, engine idling, never MOVing, a drone buzzing low over my backyard. Lisa once standing behind her azaleas with binoculars, ducking when I glanced her way. It might have been funny if it wasn't so creepy. I realized this wasn't about barking, it never was. It was about territory, about someone so desperate to dominate that she'd invent a problem rather than admit she had no leverage. And then just when I thought it couldn't get stranger, it did. One Tuesday afternoon, Buddy and I were strolling back from a walk, his tail wagging, my earbuds in, when 2 patrol cars rolled up to my driveway, lights flashing, doors swinging open. The officers' hands hovered near their holsters, not drawn but ready. I froze. "Sir," one said, stepping forward, "we've got a report of a dangerous animal on the premises. Secure the dog and step back." Buddy sat at my heel, puzzled but calm. I blinked, heart racing. What?" The other officer glanced at Buddy, then at me, his expression screaming, "This isn't what we signed up for." That's when I spotted Lisa across the street, arms folded, phone in hand like a trophy. This wasn't a mix-up, it was a battle. What she didn't know was that it wouldn't end how she planned. I had cameras, neighbors, and the truth. By the time this was over, she'd regret calling the cops on my dog. She'd be the one leaving in cuffs, her reign of terror undone by the rules she tried to bend. But I'm jumping ahead. Let me take you back to where it really kicked off, with a tail wag, a lie, and one terrible choice. It was a Wednesday, not some stormy, dramatic one either, just a clear blue sky, birds chirping like a screensaver. Buddy sprawled on the porch without a worry. I'd just gotten back from grabbing lunch and was halfway through a turkey sandwich when I heard it. The slow crunch of tires on gravel, deliberate enough to make your skin prickle before your brain caught up. I stepped outside as a police cruiser pulled into my driveway, followed by a second. 2 officers climbed out, hands resting lightly on their belts, faces blank. I glanced at Buddy, he tilted his head, tail thumping the wood. The lead officer approached, voice clipped but steady. "Sir, we've received a report of a dangerous animal here. We need to confirm the dog's restrained and check the claim." I blinked. "Dangerous?" I gestured to Buddy, who yawned and rolled onto his side like a sun-warm marshmallow. "That's Buddy." The second officer glanced from Buddy to his partner, barely hiding a smirk. "The report was detailed," he said, almost apologetic. "Aggressive behavior or lunging, an attempted attack on a civilian." That's when I saw her, Lisa, across the street, phone still in hand, now sporting a neck brace that definitely wasn't there yesterday, her lips twisted in a grimace as she waved at the officers like they were old pals. "That's her," I said, keeping my tone even. She made the complaint, didn't she? They didn't answer, but their silence said plenty. She claims your dog lunged at her on a walk, the lead officer said. Said she fell trying to dodge a bite. I stared. Officer, Buddy doesn't even lunge at squirrels. And we've got cameras, multiple cameras. That was the turning point. I invited them in, pulled up the footage from the exact time Lisa claimed it happened. There she was, lurking by my mailbox, holding what looked like a piece of bacon, coaxing Buddy toward the yard's edge. He trotted over, tail wagging, clearly familiar with her from her constant prowling. When he got close, she flailed backward, tossed the bacon, and flopped onto the pavement like she was in a soap opera. Then she yanked out her phone, screaming into it with award-worthy hysterics. But the best part? She wasn't alone. The video caught her friend, Diane, self-proclaimed HOA deputy, filming from behind a shrub like it was a low-budget sting operation. I showed the officers. One let out a sharp breath, the closest thing to a laugh he could muster on duty. Mind if we take a copy? He asked. Go right ahead, I said. But I wasn't done. I led them to the side gate, pointed to a new camera I'd put up 2 weeks earlier. That one caught her yesterday. I flipped to another clip. Lisa, gloved up, reaching through the fence with a plastic bag of something, can't tell what, tossing it near Buddy's water bowl. She's not just lying, I said. She's escalating. That hit them. The lead officer nodded, reassessing everything. All right, he said, heading back to his car. We'll need a statement, and we might have questions for your neighbor. Lisa must have sensed the tide turning because as the officers crossed the street, she switched gears. The stern enforcer vanished, replaced by a fragile victim wringing her hands, voice trembling about fearing for her life, the beast lunging out of nowhere, the sleepless nights. Ma'am, one officer cut in, we've seen footage that says otherwise. Her eyes widened. Footage, she echoed, like it was a foreign word. What footage? Multiple angles, he replied. Body cam, home surveillance enough to question your report. That's when she snapped. He trained that dog to attack, she yelled, fingers shaking as she pointed at me. He's been planning she wants me gone. The officers traded a look, then one reached for his cuffs. Ma'am, turn around. You're under arrest for filing a false report, trespassing, and potential animal endangerment. The silence that followed was deafening. Lisa's jaw dropped. You're arresting me? She shrieked, mascara streaking as the cuffs clicked. I'm the victim. But the officers didn't budge, guiding her into the cruiser. Buddy let out one satisfied bark, not loud, not mean, just enough to say game over. That's when I realized. Sometimes justice doesn't roar, it watches, records, and waits. Lisa thought she'd set a trap, but she'd stumbled into her own. And the best part was still coming. The neighborhood was abuzz the next morning, like someone had poked a beehive with a lawn chair. Word spreads fast on quiet streets, especially when the woman who once bragged about leading the Decency Council gets hauled off for lying about a golden retriever. But if I thought Lisa's arrest would wrap it up, I underestimated her tenacity. Less than a day after her meltdown, a letter appeared taped to my door, typed, formatted like a legal notice, signed in wobbly marker. It accused me of emotional harassment via pet negligence and claimed I was now on a community danger list, something